Today we relaunched the podcast. We got a great show, but the show's really not that important. It's the fact that we're here and we're doing it again and we're excited about it. We've got some great topics to talk to you about. You know, Joe Biden's plan to eliminate the 1031 tax exchange. We want to talk about that. That's relevant real estate news. We want to motivate you. We want to inspire you. We want to show you that anybody can do this. And that's the reason why we're doing it. We're in here because we want to have perspective in the world. We want to show you that if you got goals, that you can achieve them, and we're gonna let you watch us achieve ours. So we hope you enjoy the ride, and thank you for watching. To the current subscribers here on YouTube, 132 of you, we love you. We appreciate you. We hope to develop content that you will share and engage with us. And we're happy to be back, and we hope you enjoy it. So here we go. Thanks.
Cool.
Are we on? All right, live on YouTube. Wow, that's this is a first for us. We're gonna just kick it off here, putting you in your place. First of all, I want to update. We have 134 subscribers, and for the 2 new people, welcome. We appreciate you hopping on with us. To my team here in this studio that we've developed, this has taken a lot of hard work, a lot of debate, a lot of strategy. So thank you guys. I appreciate that. I couldn't be here without you. So I really appreciate that. Introducing the team here that's helping me do this, Weston Carmack and Sky King. We got a lot of interesting things that are interesting to us anyway, that we're going to talk to you about or talk about. And we're just going to get going. So we're just going to get, I mean, you're going to lead off here and we'll talk about the topics we've got outlined.
Dude, all right. So just tell me what's happening in the business. What we got going on?
Okay, so the real estate business right now, if you're a seller, you're loving it. If you're a buyer, you're struggling. And it's very important now, no matter what you're doing, that you're using somebody that knows what they're doing. So who you work with absolutely matters in this particular environment because of just the temperature of the market. The sellers have to navigate through multiple buyers. They have to navigate through tons and tons of showings. I've got a listing right now that has 30 showings. I mean, that's a little bit on top of what we like to see without an actual contract. But the seller has had to deal with scheduling and removing dogs and like altering their life through 30 showings. I mean, that's a ton. Yeah. So like having an agent with the tools and the systems and the processes in place, that's important. For a buyer, having the strategies around negotiating the deal is super important. So really that's really what's going on. It's the buyer pools are huge. The listing inventory is small. The interest rates are very low, like all-time low. And it's just now's a great time to be trying to make a move. Financially, it just makes sense. So that's kind of the real estate update.
Tell them what's happening with us. Like, we're looking at that place downtown near Midtown.
Yeah.
Tell them about that. That's cool.
So we've identified a space for our business that we think that we can really thrive in. There's a community in downtown Blacksburg called Midtown. I've been in love with it from day one. It's at the old Blacksburg Middle School location, and it's just something that I feel is going to be very special. And as far as a community that can be developed there, I feel like it's just something I want to be a part of. So we've got an opportunity to that there's a space available over there. And we're, given COVID, we're in the middle of COVID, it's emotional to me to try to make that type of move in this environment. But I know that if I can do it, that now's the time to do it. Like, this is the absolute best opportunity for me to get that space, before everything's developed over there. So You know, we're striving, and you know, we got big goals, and that's been one of our goals for since the idea has come up. We know that we need to be over there, so that's kind of where we are in our business. You know, just for the people that don't know who I am, for the people that really just had no idea, this is maybe the first time you've jumped onto our channel. I'm a real estate agent in Blacksburg, Virginia. I, on average, do maybe 80 deals a year. We're actually trending toward more, closer to 100 deals. So I think I bring perspective on, you know, how to sell, how to get people to say yes to you, how to achieve big goals. You know, when I was in a meeting one time 5 years ago, and I said, you know, I'd like to do 100 transactions a year, and people actually out loud laughed at me, just because they know how hard it is. They don't think that's achievable, you know. And here we are about to achieve it. So, I'm an example of persistence and going after my goal and being dedicated toward, like, you know, a plan that we put together. So, you know, that's where my expertise comes in, and that's something I hope to share with everybody and be of value to you, knowing that, you know, with some motivation and some training and some planning and some execution, that you can also do these things, even if you're in a small town like I am, even if you're in an area that's not, you know, heavily populated, right? So, you know, I believe, you know, if we're going to transition into like the entrepreneurial mindset, you know, the entrepreneur that is a winner is going to win. You know, like winners win and losers lose. You know, I think Michael Phelps had a good quote. He said, "Winners focus on winning, and losers focus on winners." And I think that's really the truth. That's a good mindset to have. Is, you know, winning is all that you care about, not what's going on in the environment around you. You just go after your goals, and you know what your goals are, and they're attainable. You actually believe in your goal.
Yeah.
So,
I think part of that entrepreneur mindset is just like also the people that are around you, you know, because the people that are around you set your mindset.
Yeah.
Right. And then also just like the kind of content that you consume. I know for me, I consume like way different content than a lot of my family members. Yeah. So I have this totally different mindset when it comes to the way of thinking.
Right.
So I just think like with doing that kind of stuff on a regular basis, I think you can get more into a entrepreneur mindset. Even if it's at a small scale.
Definitely.
You know, you don't have to like go and, I mean, like an entrepreneur starts businesses, but you don't have to like change your mindset and then go and start a business. You know, these are just good habits to create.
Yeah. I mean, that's definitely true. I mean, you definitely have to have somebody in your life that puts perspective on what you're trying to do and also encourages you to go after it.
Yeah.
You know? Yeah. So, I mean, I agree with that 100%.
Yeah, I know like my like close friend group definitely helps me with that because all of my friends are other content creators and we're all pushing each other to do better. And like that's how I got to where I am right now, sitting in front of you.
Yeah.
So, and then other friends getting gigs and doing all this other kind of stuff, working for businesses.
Right.
So
I love this one. This next item we have on our thing, that was a quote I came up with. It was based on someone like not believing something was possible. It's, you will never find something you don't believe exists. So if you have these goals, like you have to believe in the goal for you to be able to achieve it. You know, if you always find yourself saying, "Oh, well, that would be nice," or "I wish I could do that," or "Man, you know," just, you know, having something that you don't think is attainable really gets in your way. Like you've got to understand that if anybody like you has ever achieved what your goal is, then it's likely that given the proper, the proper actions, that you can achieve those goals as well.
Yeah, I think that also has something to do with the mindset because I actually I was actually talking to my dad about this the other day. We're talking about things that you believe, or to put it in your words, don't believe exist. Like someone's already done it. You can go and do it. I always think of it from the perspective of those people are going to disappear one day. Who's going to take their place? Yeah. And it's like you might as well set yourself up now So that way, when that opportunity opens up, you're already there, you're prepared.
Yeah.
It's not like it just happened by luck. You did everything to get there.
Yeah.
Because when Melania Trump was speaking at the RNC, she was talking about, she lived in like the Soviet Union, came over here and was like, wanted to do something in the fashion industry. That's what she did, right? But like to her, she's seen the worst, right? So when she came here, the worst here was not the worst there.
Yeah.
So to her, it wasn't even like a question as to if she could do it or not. It's like she knew she was going to do it,
Yeah.
right? And it's just like that mindset to do it, right?
Yeah.
So, because I think it also has to do with the way that some of us are like living right now, just because if you're like born in America, the worst here isn't the worst somewhere else.
Yeah.
So we become kind of complacent with that. So then people like have these dreams when they're a kid, but then they don't go and chase them.
I mean, I'll admit, most Americans just are soft. I mean, like we've made it. We're at the top of the chain. We're literally at the top of the chain when it comes to the rest of the world. So a lot of people don't have that hunger to be successful. They're good with just good.
Mm-hmm.
When they get the good, they're good. They don't even try for great.
Yeah.
So like that's something I see and observe daily. So for sure.
Yeah. Totally.
Cool. All right. So moving it on, like, what we're hoping, obviously the show's name's putting you in your place, right? Like, it's a play on words. I think that's entertaining to me. It's funny to me. That's why we chose that. Is like, I'm a real estate agent and I'm helping people buy houses. Well, I'm kind of putting them in their place. But this actually opens up a lot of things for us to talk about and like have perspective on. And that's one of the goals of this is honestly, this is almost more of a legacy project than anything. If I can impact the world through this situation, that'll make me happy and proud. My lineage, when I have kids and they have kids and they can come back to this and see me and hear me talk in my prime, and like what I was thinking and what I was doing, they have the opportunity to see that. So that means a lot to me. And if we can develop a community and grow this and impact people, that are out there right now, that's a bonus. And this gives me just the opportunity to really put my perspective on things, on any topic, because I can put anybody in their place. I can put any topic that people are on at the moment in their place, in my opinion. So this is a complete opinion-based show.
Mm-hmm.
But
it's just our perspective.
But we have some expertise in a few things, but mainly we're going to talk about topics that just impact us in our daily life, our weekly life, and that's pretty much what putting you in your place is going to be about.
Yeah, just helping people find their place. Maybe we say something and it opens the door for like people will be like, "Oh, I didn't even think about it that way," and it opens the door, and they're like, and that could change. Just one word could change someone's life forever.
Definitely.
So that's kind of what I hope we achieve here.
Yeah, definitely, no doubt.
So, all right,
okay. What else?
You want to dive into the Biden's plan?
Yeah, let's talk about that.
Let's talk about it.
All right, let's pull up that link
Sure.
so we have that link up, and we can review that policy. Let's just get you to read off exactly what Bloomberg said.
Okay. So here's the part where they're talking about the plan, right? So I'm just going to highlight that right there.
Sure.
The plan would target a provision for avoiding capital gains tax on property sales to raise cash for childcare and elderly services, known as the like-kind exchange. The tactic allows investors to roll the proceeds of real estate sales into future purchases, shielding investors from taxes on their profits.
Okay.
So that's kind of what it does.
So like-kind exchange is in the industry term, like not the layman's term. That's the layperson's understanding of it. What we know it in the industry as is the 1031 tax exchange. And what that does is it allows us to sell the asset, hold that money in an account to find another asset to roll that capital into that's not going to be taxed at all And what this policy actually does, like, some people might think if you're against this, then you're against extra child care and elder care. Well, honestly, it's not the case. So what happens if you're going to tax people on asset, like when they're going to sell their assets, and they're going to be taxed at that rate, and they can't get to the next asset with the capital that they anticipated, they will not sell as quickly and for as much money. Okay, so this affects not only the top end of the buyers, but the entry point too. So if you're buying a duplex and you hold on to it for 5 years, you improve it, you collect the rents, you do everything that's involved in keeping a good property. When you go to identify the next property and you want to unload the current property, about 20% of your profit is going straight to Uncle Sam. Now, when you have to let that amount of money go, you really evaluate if you want to make that move and then what you're going to pay for the next property moving up. So this has a big trickle up effect. And really, when you compress growth, when you actually compress the growth of the economy in this way, your projections on what's going to be coming in is always going to be less than projected. In my opinion, there's no way you can accurately project people selling off their investment properties, giving the government a percentage of that, and be accurate on the projections of the income that you need from it. Does that make sense?
Yeah, that makes sense to me. But the way that I took this, right? So he's making money on basically the back end of these real estate deals, whereas 51 billion that they're avoiding. Well, I say avoiding in taxes. It's more of just like the way that you play the tax system.
Yeah.
So they found a loophole, right? It's 51.
No, they created the loophole.
Yeah, they created it, right?
Yeah.
So this is 51 billion, but like, if
it wouldn't be 51 billion if this was in place.
Right, because they would like reevaluate what they're doing. So that 51 billion might turn into something
10
like
billion.
10 billion,
Yeah.
right?
So then you've got a big shortfall.
Then you can't accomplish the things that you wanted to anyways.
Right.
Right? And then they're just going to try to find a different, like either loophole or they'll try to create something to where they can get around this,
Yeah.
right? So to me, like in theory, it's great, but I feel like it would just fall off over time, right?
Yeah.
Am I wrong?
They would always be short.
Yeah.
They would always be short on projections. Well, for the last 5 years, they brought in 51 billion. Okay, well, let's adjust that. Well, then they're going to show up in another 5 years. Why didn't we get 51 billion?
Yeah.
What happened to that 51 billion? It turned into 10. And you only got a small percentage of what you thought. So then you really put them in a bind.
Then there's the other fact where it's like, okay, what if for some reason the real estate market was to crash? This would come to a halt, and you might not even get 10 billion.
This would be one of the reasons why it would crash.
Probably.
I mean,
I could see that happening.
This is a component of people that have done the right thing over time, saved a bunch of money, can get into an investment property, and here's the thing, is you are getting taxes based on the rent you collect. The gross rents that you collect minus your expenses, the government taxes you on that number. So if you're making $500 profit on your rental, you're going to have to pay taxes on the $500 depending on what your income is. That's going to be associated with your overall gross income minus your expenses to the government, and then you pay taxes on that. So this is a big detriment to the economy overall, in my opinion. I don't agree with this policy. I don't want to dive too far into politics on this show, but when it comes to policies that affect growth and real estate sales and the overall general economy, then we're going to talk about it. And this is one that I adamantly disagree with. This is not a policy that anybody should be in favor of. What needs to happen is more job opportunities, less taxes on small business. Those things help generate more tax revenue in the long run, in my opinion. So I think there's a stat out there that said when the tax cut came in 2017, the Treasury actually saw an uptick in money sent in. You know, like that's floating around out there that nobody's reporting on is the surge of money coming into the Treasury went up when the tax rate went down. So that's the interesting thing.
Yeah. So this is like a point that I just highlighted right here, right? So this is why this even like was brought up, because 2021 to me seems like it's going to be a rough year.
Yeah.
Because there's been a lot of money pushed into our economy, so that, you know, there's a lot of cash floating around right now, and then there's going to be a bunch of holes that we need to fill for COVID-19, which is why this was brought up. So I would be very interested to revisit this topic after the election.
For sure.
To figure out what the next administration, Biden or Trump's administration, doesn't matter. I'd be interested to see what they say. This is Biden's solution, but I don't think it's going to work.
Here's a stat that I thought was really interesting, is a lot of people's mortgage liability right now is less than 50% of the value of the home. A lot of people are in financially stable positions with their housing. Mm-hmm. So if a tragedy does come up, they might have access to that equity to survive. You know, there's a stimulus package for most people that are homeowners right now because they're in very solid positions because of the amount of equity that has been paid down and the increase in value, you know, just because of the housing market being in such high demand right now.
Right.
So very interesting. I disagree with this policy. I'm definitely against this policy. This does nothing but contract value, and this does nothing but slows the opportunities for people to go from one investment product to the next investment product, if they so choose, you know. And, you know, like I said, the tax revenue that's coming in from the rents, I'm all for that. I subscribe to that. I do that. The rents that I collect on my own personal investments, I'm happy to send my portion of that to the to Uncle Sam.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's our take on that. We disagree with that policy.
Oh yeah, we're gonna put the links to these articles in the description, so that way people can see what we're talking about.
Exactly.
This was just one that was found on Bloomberg. I'm sure if you just look this up, let me scroll back up so that way people can see the title. You know.
And honestly, you know, this is a unbiased to Joe Biden article. This is just the facts. You know, this is a left-leaning source, you know, to say what's going on.
Yeah, I mean, I think that at the bottom it kind of gets into more. You can kind of hear the person who wrote this article. You can kind of hear like their opinions on it. But every time I look at this, I always just pull what they're talking about out instead of like listening to what they're saying. I do read what the journalist is saying so that way I can get someone else's perspective on it. But I always pull out the facts and then just focus on that and then make my own decision based on that. It's usually what I do whenever I'm reading these articles. Sure. But yeah, everything we're going to talk about today that has an article, we'll link into the description.
Cool.
But yeah, I don't really know if actually, if anyone can find like an article that disputes what we just said, I'd be like super happy to like read it. Yeah. And then evaluate that as well. Because like this is just from one person's opinion. It could be completely different, and there's something else that like backs this up to where this does work. Yeah. But just based on reading this, it doesn't seem like it works. No. To me. Yeah. But
this feels like a detriment to the economy, even though the intent of the thing is nice. It's just not a practical way to go about it. You know, if you want better childcare, then more people have to have opportunities to pay for the childcare that they need. You know, there needs to be support for that.
Okay. So yeah, that's what we're going to talk about.
Cool.
All right, so I guess we'll just move on to the next topic.
Sure.
Most popular home updates during the pandemic. I'll go ahead and open up this article.
Yeah.
I usually get most of our articles from the National Association of Realtors. They just seem like a pretty reputable source that we can pull articles from.
Sure.
So this article talks about 58% annual increase in project leads for home professionals in the month of June, right? So things that people are improving, they're improving their patios, they're improving their pools, they're installing fences. Installation and repairs jumped 166% for fences. That seems like a lot. So I guess people are scared, so they're just putting in fences in their houses now. I don't know.
Interesting.
Kitchens, they're redoing their kitchens. Kitchens to me, that seems like a really good place to spend a lot of money because like I like cooking, so you know that's like I enjoy what I eat. So I think putting money into the kitchen is like important to me.
Right.
Bathrooms, I guess if you have a disgusting bathroom or if you want to do a half bath or something, I guess that's where that's coming from. And home gyms. Home gyms is a big one for the pandemic.
Definitely, I understand that for sure.
Yeah, you want
to
talk about
on the gym thing. Honestly, I'm still going to the gym, and I am like I'm not with the mask thing. You know, I'm not. You know, I don't necessarily agree with that situation. Like, you know, I'm a healthy guy anyway, so like, the whole mask situation for me is just a personal belief. Like, I don't. It's not a big deal if you believe in the mask and you want to wear the mask. That's on you. Like, that's something that's okay. Anyway, let's see. The gym thing is definitely something that I would enjoy myself. You know, it would be pretty economical as well. I think. You know, setting that up in a space.
Yeah. So actually, one of my friends here in Blacksburg, his dad went to the gym a lot. I think he was going to. I want to say he was going to Planet Fitness, and when the pandemic hit, he like wasn't leaving because he's like a professor at Tech. Yeah. So if he gets sick, you know, that was back when Tech was still in session and they hadn't closed yet. So what he did was he like built his own home gym, right? So he's got like a bench press and dumbbells and everything. He's got like the whole nine. Yeah. And he actually enjoys that better because he's saving money on gas. He doesn't have to spend the time to go to the gym. Basically, in his eyes, he was saving time when it comes to working out.
Yeah.
Because he has to pull his car out of the garage and then set it all up. And in his mind, he was like, well, I was already going to spend time to drive to the gym anyways, so that time pulling the car out, you know, is like spent building the gym instead of driving.
Yeah.
But he's saving money because he's not having to drive or pay for
and
gym
you don't have
membership.
to risk being around people. You know?
That too, yeah.
I mean, that's the big thing is you've got everything you need to stay healthy, you know, stay fit, and you're not going to put yourself in a spot that you don't want to do something that you don't believe in or you know, have to be around people at all. So
the pools, you put a note on like the pros and cons. So to me, a pool has always been a pro. I've always wanted a pool at my house. I've lived in 3 different houses, never had a pool.
Yeah.
So what's the pros and cons to owning a pool?
Well, obviously the pros of it is just you got a pool.
Yeah.
You know,
yeah.
like
Right.
that, I mean.
Yeah.
You know, the cons of it are the maintenance, and when you have a luxury item like a pool, then you've got to pay for that luxury item. You got to pay for the maintenance. You got to pay for the water heating. I mean, the expenses of running your household go up. You know, so that's, you know, some people don't enjoy that. You know, they don't enjoy that. But now that you can't go to Myrtle Beach, you know, or now that you're like hesitant to travel, now you really appreciate that type of stuff.
Yeah.
You know, I'm interested to see what kind of pool you could build for $10,000. Like, could you get a pool built with any significance for $10,000?
I don't know.
I think it's.
Let me look up and see what the price is.
Like an in-ground pool. I'm talking about a nice in-ground pool. Could you do that for $10,000? I would be very interested in if you could or not.
Oh, nope. So here's what I just pulled up. So average cost to install an in-ground pool is $35,000.
Yeah.
I guess that's like an average, spending between $28,000 and $55,000. So
yeah.
I guess if you built a pool like this one, that's probably the $55,000 pool.
Yeah. Because look at all the stonework.
All the stones, and it's a odd shape.
You can get a hot tub for $10,000.
You got a slide. Well, see, that's what I was thinking. I think a hot tub here would make more sense than having a pool. Like if I lived in Florida, I'd rather have a pool.
Yeah.
Right. But if I live here, there's winter times and it's snowing. I'd rather have a hot tub.
Yeah.
That's just my personal opinion.
Yeah.
And it's cheaper.
Yeah, definitely cheaper.
So, yeah, that's pretty. I like that though. That's a really cool pool.
Oh yeah, definitely. I mean, that stonework is like phenomenal.
Yeah.
But you know, so let's just the $10,000 budget thing. I think for me, if I was trying to make more accommodations for leaving my house less, it would be investing in the home office space, which I did. I got the I got that at work home workstation or alt work workstation. It was like $6,000, and that thing is awesome. It's got the the big curved monitor on it. I can like lean back and prop my feet up. Like it's pretty awesome. And then obviously people are really thinking food storage.
Yeah.
Food storage, like I'm gonna get home deliveries of groceries, or I'm gonna be buying in bulk from Amazon, and I need a place to put all this. I think that's a very practical thing to do if you're looking to invest in your home, is find ways to create more food storage. I think that'd be number one.
Yeah, like for me at like my house, we have a freezer in our basement.
Yeah.
Right, and then every year we order like a quarter of a cow.
Yeah.
And I'm living in a family of 5.
Right.
That feeds us for a year.
Wow.
Right, so we're saving because like meat's expensive when you go to the store.
Yeah.
But if you buy it in bulk and keep it in the freezer, you're saving money. So like for me personally, $10,000 would be spent on a kitchen, because not only is it going to save you money and time in a pandemic, because you can't go out and eat at a restaurant or whatever. It's just gonna continue for the rest of your life to cut down on costs when you go to eat out or when you're trying to eat, right? Because, I mean, that to me just makes sense, because like coming from like a business mind, I'm like always thinking about ways to like cut back on spending and save money, and I'm like, if I invest in a kitchen, then I'm not spending like $10 on a meal at like McAllister's or something.
I'm actually a subscriber to Butcher Box, and I can I get a monthly box of prime cut meat. I get to choose from seven different selections of meat. Beef, steak, chicken, seafood, pork, like all that stuff. I just got lobster in the other day.
Oh wow!
I got like 10 packs of bacon in one of the boxes, and so I got bacon for days, months really.
Yeah.
So
totally random. Do you know where the lobster came from?
I don't. I think it was. I think it was Maine.
Oh wow.
I think it was Maine. Yeah.
So they put a lot of money into the way they ship those things.
Yeah, definitely. It was. The dry ice was on each, top, bottom, sides.
Okay.
And it got to me in 2 days, so it was still like below freezing.
Yeah, I have to look into that, because like I was born in Wilmington, which is the beach. So like I grew up on like good seafood. Yeah. Right. So but like ever since I moved to like upstate New York, and here we were like really far away from the beach, so finding good seafood is like kind of hard.
Definitely.
So I have to look into that.
Yeah, Butcher Box was legit.
Butcher Box.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
So food storage was my number. Food storage investment in your home is definitely my pick for pandemic prepping, prepping type thing. Yeah.
Yeah, I totally agree with that. So when you do all these like renovations to your homes, like what's like the overall benefit to that, like for a person that wants to do this to their home?
Yeah, so real estate is not always about what I'm going to do to get a return. Okay, so like people come to me and they talk to me a lot about, do you think this is valuable for me to do to my home? And typically my question is, well, would you enjoy it? And if the answer is, yeah, I want to do that. That's what I want to do. And I tell them that if that's what you want to do to be happy, unless you're doing it to sell it, it's not something to be focused on, like to increase the value of the house. Like you want to enjoy the space that you're in, number one. Now, if it equals it being nice to the next buyer and they will pay you more for it, bonus. That's a bonus. So like real estate, your house does not have to function as like you always thinking about the exit. Okay, the exit of you not living in that home anymore doesn't really have to be a primary focus when it comes to you doing the things you want to do in your home. So I wouldn't get wrapped up in that, as long as you're not like if you wanted to paint a room pink and that made you happy, as long as you knew that when I came back I was going to maybe advise you into doing something more in today's trend when you do go to sell it. So like you need to be open to changing it back if it's a detriment to you. But if it's something that you want and you're going to enjoy and you're going to get fulfillment out of, I'm fully encouraging of you doing that.
Yeah. I also think that comes back to like almost like a psychological thing, because if you're passionate about something, that shows in like whatever you do.
Yeah.
So like if you're like super passionate about something you're changing in your home, that's going to show. And like whenever you go and like if you want to sell your home, they're going to be like, "Oh wow, they put a lot of time into that home gym."
Yeah.
You know, it's going to look really nice.
Well,
that could be the key selling point too.
Here's the thing is I've had a lot of experience with homeowners that simply just have bad taste.
Okay.
And it's not like I feel for them. You know, I've had to make decisions for a homeowner that I knew was the right thing, and I knew that it was my fiduciary obligation to do, that they had major issues with because that wasn't their taste, and they thought it was a detriment to them, but it actually made the home better, and it actually allowed the home to sell.
Yeah.
So like if it wasn't for my decision making in that regard, that home would still be devaluing itself and probably still available for sale.
So always get like, if you were to do anything, I guess you should always get like multiple opinions from people.
You should, but don't think that we're the ultimate authority on what makes you happy. Just be willing to make adjustments based on research. You know, when I come in and I don't like something, it's not because I don't like it, it's because research says this is not the thing right now.
Yeah.
So like I'm using that language with them to influence them into better choices. But they've got to be open to my suggestion for them to get the results, you know?
So should someone be going and asking like friends and family about a certain renovation?
I would say you're your own North Star. Like you can ask opinions, but if that opinion doesn't concur with what's in your heart or in your mind or in your gut that you want, do what you want to do. But at the end, when you do plan to exit, when you are planning to exit, and you're hiring a professional to give you advice and help you sell the property, you need to be open to their suggestions on the critical changes necessary to sell the house. So,
Gotcha.
Yeah.
All right.
What's the most common change you ask of people?
Well, and if it's a taste issue, like if they painted something, if they got some crazy wallpaper or like, I just refer back to this one house that had this ugly drapery and like window treatments and like red flooring and it was a disaster.
Yeah.
And I had to come in and I had to be like, we did it your way. You know, you heard what I said at the beginning. We're getting no results. We've had to reduce the price 2 times. I need you to listen and let me lead this situation. Let me make these decisions for you on what I know to be trendy, and we will get results. And that's exactly what happened. So paint colors is number 1. Yeah.
I actually read an article about paint colors the other day. Apparently they're changing because right now they're, when I say changing, like the trend apparently is changing.
Yeah.
Because like right now it's more, I see a lot of like mute blues and greens and almost yellows sometimes and grays.
Yeah.
And now they're saying that people are painting their homes in a more lively color. I don't remember where the article
Honestly,
is. I'm not going to be able to find it again.
The yellow is the bottom of the trend list.
I would never
do not paint any wall or anything in your home yellow at this point. Nobody is on yellow.
Because it looks like white that's gotten old.
Exactly. Yeah, it's dingy. You know, it's just the sign of dirt in my mind. Like it's the sign of uncleanliness. Yellow. Yeah.
So like when I lived in North Carolina, I remember my parents painting our living room this like more mute-ish yellow, but we live near the beach, so it made more sense there. But like whenever I go back and look at it, I'm like, why would you ever paint it that color? It looks so bad.
Yeah.
But I guess it also depends on where you live, because certain colors I think do better in different areas.
Sure.
And at the beach, you're going to have to repaint every few years anyway. So.
Yeah. Well, we weren't like right on the beach. We were more in like a suburban area. But like, I mean, we were like 15 minutes from the beach.
Because like the salt air just ruins paint, right?
Yeah, it does. Yeah. So those people out there, I think, are now painting their stuff in like some kind of like Bear makes some kind of special paint for them, like that holds up well in different kinds of weather. So I think I'm not a paint expert, but I'm just pretty sure that's what they use is some kind of Bear product now.
So the paint coloring of the house is the number one. You know, if I've got to bring anything up, it's the paint.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think asking a local realtor is a smart idea too, because you see all the homes in the area.
Yeah,
so
and we know. I mean, if you're a top producer, you're seeing what's selling and what's not. I mean, I've got inventory of what's selling and what's not myself. So like, I know what's struggling and what's flying.
Yeah. So, this article, I think it's hilarious.
The bear?
The one with the bear?
Yeah.
Like, so what do you do in a situation? Oh, so first, let me tell everyone what's going on here.
Sure.
So this couple, I think they live in, I think it's Oregon? No, Lake Tahoe, California. So they live in Lake Tahoe, California, and they were trying to sell their home. And a picture was snapped by what I'm guessing is their neighbor. A bear got into their backyard, and it's a picture of them fighting off this bear, or like trying to scare him away. Which is a smart idea, because whenever a bear comes up to you, you try to act bigger than him or her, and then it scares it off, right? But this picture went viral, kinda, and it caught the people that were trying to buy the home caught wind of this and backed out of the deal, because they were like, "Oh, a bear got into that backyard very easily. I don't want to live here."
Yeah.
So what would you do if something like that happened to a client?
If a buyer refuses to buy a house, there are measures in the contract that can hold them to the deal, but I strongly feel like if a buyer doesn't want to buy a house, then they're not going to buy a house. I mean, no matter what the legal ramifications are going to be, if they're afraid or they feel like the deal's unfair, they're not going to buy it. You might as well take their good faith deposit. You might as well recover any damages that you can get out of them prior to release, and then you put it back on the market, And if you don't want to release them out of the contract, there are options. In the state of Virginia, if a buyer refuses to buy and you deem them to be in breach of the contract, what you would do is you would relist the property, you would resell the property, and any loss that you had to take, then you could take action if there was a loss or a detriment to it. So, the ultimate authority in any dispute, if you execute it through the legal channels that you would have to go, is through the judge. The judge's gavel has to fall for you to be able to enforce anything at any time, okay? So it's not worth the hassle of doing that, and that's why I go to the script of the real estate purchase agreement is just high-end toilet paper for most cases in a dispute, because if a buyer doesn't want to buy or a seller gets into a spot that they don't want to sell, you're not going to force them. You could, but the likelihood of you doing so is like so super small that you're gonna get made whole financially from all the investment that you spent, and you're gonna go find the next best available option. And so in this case, the buyer spooked over the bear. I think that's silly, personally. A story that I had that's similar to this is that a buyer was spooked of a close neighboring cemetery that was unmarked that he discovered, and he no longer wanted to buy the property. He wanted to get out of the deal. We tried to talk him into it and do everything that we could to convince him, but he was actually afraid to be in that area because of the unmarked cemetery that was just right beyond his property line, and he wasn't going to buy the house for nothing. So we just let him out. We didn't even keep his good faith deposit. We just let him go. We're confident in the products that we list, and we know that we're going to get somebody else on the deal anyway. So that's exactly how I handled it. These people that got out of that deal were probably acting irrationally, knowing that this is 1 in a million. This is very low odds that this happens. So they probably missed out on a great house that they were probably really on and really liked until they became fearful because of a bear sneaking into the gate, or whatever that is.
I gotcha.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. That's crazy. I guess it probably climbed a tree.
Oh, probably climbed the tree and jumped in.
Yeah,
it might have been. Yeah, it makes sense.
Yeah. Bears don't do anything for no reason either. So it must have been,
obviously it was
they must have left like trash out or something.
Yeah, obviously it's hungry.
Okay, so it's 2:45. We've been doing this. How long have we been live for? For like 45 minutes? Something like that.
45.
So some of these topics, do you want to breeze over them and push them back to the next podcast.
Yeah, we can do that. Yeah,
then we can get into some other stuff.
We got some filler here that we can still use on other things.
Is any of this like time sensitive? I don't think it is.
I don't think it is either.
So you want to move into like the business stuff?
Yeah.
Okay. So this is where I thrive. I'm just kidding. I'm not a professional on this stuff. I just really enjoy like the business world. So I enjoyed like
these are topics I'm not even close to having a lot of things to say on.
So I'll just kind of talk about them, and then we'll just kind of like, is that a good thing, bad thing, whatever. Sure. So right now, first thing we're going to talk about is Uber and Lyft. Uber and Lyft are reportedly considering a franchise model in California because they're facing legal pressure from the state to classify their drivers as employees. So California is pushing them to hire their drivers as employees for benefits. So like they have to provide health insurance, maybe 401ks, all this other kind of stuff for their the drivers. But as of right now, it's a freelance app in California. In the what did I say? It's a freelance app in California, and the rest of the world only have two classifications of workers. There's employees and there's contractors, right? There's no like, what do you do if you're like freelancing kind of thing? Because usually when people freelance, you have to like start like an LLC, and then you start like your own business, and then you start freelancing. But then you kind of become a contractor in that sense. So
my thoughts on this is, as an entrepreneur, as somebody that is trying to grow and develop a business, and you have a model and you have freedom to create whatever model you want within the rules that are set up, right?
Yeah.
So for California to step in to try to dictate what an operator of a company, a private company, can do in their model, when it's clear that people have a choice. People have freedom to not work for this company. People have a choice to go and find their own way and do their own thing. And if you want the opportunity to be involved with that company, you succumb to their model, and you either take advantage of their model or you don't, and you go do something different.
Yeah, because like right now I know that Uber and Lyft, whenever you drive for them, they don't take out taxes for you. So you have to do all your own taxes. So if you don't have some kind of like LLC or something, you're probably eating a lot in taxes. You're probably paying way too much, or well, I don't say like too much, but you're probably paying way more. You're
paying a rate higher than you would if you set yourself up as a proper corporation.
Yeah. So I didn't put it in the outline, but like I think it was last week, Lyft came and said that they were just going to temporarily pull their app out of California, and California makes up about, I think they said like 13 to 16% of their like income, or like their revenue.
Yeah.
So that's a big deal, because like they're basically like hurting themselves. They're shooting themselves in the foot. But like they have to do it.
Is either one of those companies profitable at this point?
I don't think
they are. I think they always show negative. I think they're relying on public investment into their company to remain solvent. And I don't think either one of those companies has ever turned $1 profit. I think we should look at that.
We should look at that. I'm not actually 100% sure on that, because they're both like relatively new companies.
They're billion-dollar companies. They're billion-dollar valuation companies, but they've never turned a profit. That's why when their public offering came, it just immediately tanked. You know. If you look at the return on equity, if you I've done the research. If you look at the return on equity on Uber's stock, it's big time negative.
So this little snippet right here is from August 8th of 2019, and you are right. They've never been profitable, but it has insisted it could be.
Of course it could be, especially when Google's the major stakeholder in the company. You know, like Google owns, like just below a majority share of the company. So, they've got huge backing by somebody that is profitable to run out their model to see if they can become profitable.
Doesn't look like Lyft is either.
Yeah.
This is based on 2019. So these stats are they're a little out of date. We're not sure.
But
But
still,
2020, they're not going to turn a profit.
There's no way. I mean, honestly, 2020 could actually provide them the opportunity to become profitable, because more people are looking, maybe to get, I don't know. It's cheaper to obviously have a car and do it yourself, but and what's the risk of COVID going in and out of an environment that has people going in and out of the car all the time? So like that might be a detriment.
Yeah,
too.
I don't really know what their policy is on that right now. I know that's like what hit them hard this like 2020 year.
Yeah.
So I haven't actually done too much looking into like what their like COVID. I don't do Uber or Lyft, so
Yeah.
I haven't really.
When I travel, that's all I do.
Yeah.
You know, I don't. I think Lyft just went into the rental car game too. I think you can get. I think you can actually order a rental from Lyft. They'll drive it to you. They'll take you to wherever they got to drop the driver off, and then you can have the car and drive it yourself. I think that's the thing with Lyft now.
Interesting.
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
That's cool. Well, yeah, that's what's going on with those guys. So good luck to them.
Definitely.
So next thing, Airbnb is going public soon. No one knows when, but it's just like a thing. Are you gonna invest in Airbnb?
I don't know, man. It's tough, with COVID. I think the Airbnb is probably more viable option than a hotel room now. Do you?
I guess it depends on what kind of Airbnb you're getting. But yeah, yeah, I could think. Yeah, I would say so because I've like looked into Airbnb as like a business.
Yeah.
And they really pride themselves on being like very clean, and they always like if
Well,
you're doing it right, you hire like a maid service.
Yeah.
So I think that with that, people are actually. I was talking to a friend last night. They were supposed to go to I think like Minnesota or something to see their grandma, and they were going to get an Airbnb and everything. And they were doing that because you don't have to stay at a hotel, so you're not around a bunch of people. You're just kind of like in a home by yourself.
Right.
So, but yeah, Airbnb is going public soon. I think it's going to do well, but I think it's going to be like another. It could be like another Snapchat when they went public. Snapchat stock went like way up, and then it just plummeted. So, I guess it depends on how Airbnb recovers after 2020.
Yeah, I mean the hotel and entertainment industry. I'd hate to have been a stockholder in any of those prior to COVID, because you went in the tank.
Yeah.
Like I've got opportunity to travel early 2021, and I'm gonna book the travel. I'm gonna put that in the. I'm gonna go ahead and commit to doing that, but I'm gonna see how it goes over the winter, and if it spikes up at all, I'm probably canceling. I am super fine navigating in the area that I am, but going outside the area and putting myself at risk, I think I might avoid that.
Yeah. It also depends on where the vaccine is, because I know they're working on it right now, and they said they said at the end of the year. I don't know if it's going to be at the end of the year. I guess if they've been working on it for months and they're confident, maybe. That seems like really fast turnaround though.
Yeah.
For a vaccine for a virus, because they haven't even been able to do it for the flu, like a full on cure, and now they're gonna do it for COVID. I don't know. That's always been interesting to me, but that's not beside the point. I don't have any like facts to back that up, but that's just me thinking.
Cool.
So this is a big one. Apple crossed $2.2 trillion market cap. That happened a while ago. I read another article recently. It's like 2.2 now or something like that. I don't know how they gained 200 million that fast, which is probably how they hit 2 trillion, because they said...
Is it 2 trillion 2 billion or 2 trillion 2 million? 2.2.
Oh, that would be 200 billion.
That would be...
Yeah, because we're talking...
2 trillion,
no, you're totally
2
right.
billion.
Yeah, we're talking about like really big numbers that are like almost unheard of in the business industry. But yeah, so how did they do it? So back in 2017, under Tim Cook, he made an announcement. Was it 2016? 2017. 2016, he made an announcement saying that they were going to double the value of Apple, like their market cap value, right? But how are they going to do it, right? Because in order to level up your business, you have to introduce something new and something exciting that gets people to like buy into your brand or product.
Yeah.
So what they did was they started Apple Music. They have Apple TV Plus, which is like a competitor with Netflix.
Yeah.
They have iCloud, because now you can buy iCloud space. I buy 200 gigabytes. I pay like $3 a month or something like that. And then the App Store, right? So it's all digital. They doubled the value of their business with digital products. That to me is like
amazing.
It's mind blowing, because because if you would have told me that back in 2010, I'd have been like, you're full of it. I wouldn't have believed it.
So, that's a big deal, that you have a device that billion-dollar companies are being built on top of that device. So just think of like the Amazon Alexa. and whatever Google Home and Apple Home and all this stuff that's going to be built on top of those platforms to give you your entertainment, gaming, streaming, like that's just going to be the game. I mean, finding those companies early and getting some capital into those companies to ride those waves, I'm excited to do that myself.
Yeah. And yeah, because that's what I was getting ready to say is you've seen like smaller businesses take this similar idea and do it on a small scale. So it's like YouTubers selling their online classes, they're, they have their own, like with like TubeBuddy, it's like its own service for people. So it's all digital now, like for the most part. And like that's how they're making tons of money doing that. But with all of this, it seems like there's come a cost. Developers are fighting back against the 30% cut in in-app purchases. So for Apple, they charge if you put like let's say you want to spend $3 on like gyms or something for your game, Apple takes a 30% cut of however much that person spends, and that's a huge cut compared to someone like the Google Play Store, maybe the Microsoft Store. I don't really know too many people that are downloading apps off the Microsoft Store, but it is a thing. So I'm taking a 30% cut, and the company Epic Games has did they remove? No. They didn't. So they removed the game from the App Store, but Epic Games wasn't the one that did it. They somehow found a workaround for that, and then I think Apple kicked them out of the App Store. I think is what actually happened. So when the news first came out, everyone was like, "Oh my gosh, Epic Games is like pulling Fortnite from the App Store." When it turns out that they found a workaround for it, so now Apple's kicked them out. But because of this, other app developers are thinking the same thing, that they don't want to be in the App Store because they're losing out on a lot of it's almost like they're boycotting Apple right now to try to like pull their apps off of that store. Yeah. So that sucks for them. That could slow down them getting to 3 trillion if they ever hit. They probably will hit it. How soon? I don't know. I guess it depends on how this in-app purchase thing goes.
Apple's trying to get into the electric car game too. Have you heard that?
I heard something about that like a while ago, back in like I think it was like 2015 when I heard that. But what it turns out they were talking about was like Apple CarPlay. Could it be something more? Maybe. I don't know. They always have something up their sleeve.
I think they actually unleashed a concept.
Did they?
Recently. Yeah.
Cool.
If they can get into the car game and make it profitable, that's a huge deal.
They should partner up with Tesla.
Yeah,
I think if Tesla had Apple like interface, I think it would like take Tesla to the next level.
Definitely.
Then the freaking stocks that we were just looking at with Tesla doing the split, that would like freaking double. So Apple and Tesla would just, if they do that, I'm gonna be so mad.
If they could come together, for sure.
Yeah, if they do that, I'm gonna be so mad because I just said that idea, and then, oh man, I'm gonna kick myself in the back for that one. But all right, we're coming up on the hour mark.
All right, let's wrap it up then. We'll say we got a lot of things here. I knew this was going to be an overloaded outline.
We put a lot there. We've been backing up a lot of content.
Yeah.
So
we are interested in having guests. This is like a casting call. This is like if you have something you'd like to share, or there's a topic that you'd like to put your perspective on. We have capabilities of bringing you in on Zoom. You can come into the office. We'd like to talk to anybody that's in the business world that is in the product, has a product that they want to put out. Maybe you're a local entrepreneur yourself. We want to understand what you're up against. I feel like I've got great perspective on building business. I've had to manage people. I have to manage teams. I have to. I'm on my journey as a leader myself, so it's a collaboration maybe we could have on leadership, and like what your struggles have been and what my struggles have been, and how we can help other people like not make those mistakes. So this is a casting call to anybody here locally, or just in range of our voice here, that can hear us, that are tuning into our channel. We'd like to talk to you about whatever it is that you're interested in. So message us. You can find us on Instagram or Facebook or Twitter.
It's all going to be linked in the bio.
Yeah, all linked in the bio.
Or in the description.
Yep. Yeah. So find us there. Engage with us. Let's collaborate in one way or shape or form. even if it's like you need some real estate advice, I am just licensed in Virginia, but I'll give you my perspective on things. And I can certainly refer you to somebody that's as productive as me wherever you are in the world, pretty much. I've got a connection. So please, like, subscribe, share our content if it provided any value to you. And we really appreciate you guys tuning in. I guess until next week, we're going to do this. We're doing this on a weekly basis. Oh, I do have to get you guys prepared. We've booked one of our favorite guys ever, funniest guy I personally know. Derek Nallen's going to be coming in on September 15th. That's 2 shows from now. And I want you guys ready to watch that show. That one's going to be highly entertaining, I have a feeling. So be ready for that. And
we'll put an info card on this because he was in a recent podcast.
He was.
So we'll link it back to that.
He's actually been a part of the show before. So we'll link you back to that. And he's going to be here in 2 weeks. So we're excited to have him.
Cool.
All right, guys. I guess until next time, this has been Putting You in Your Place.
Later, everyone.
See ya.